Do you know that simply switching to wet food every day could be quietly protecting your dog's kidneys without you even realizing it? It may sound exaggerated, but the truth is that most indoor dogs today are living in a state of chronic dehydration, even though they always have a bowl of water nearby. And the dangerous part is, you can't see it. There are no obvious signs at first, but inside their bodies, their kidneys are working overtime every single day. So what's really going on? To understand this, you need to go back to the origin of dogs. Their ancestors, wolves, didn't drink water the way we imagine. They got water directly from their prey. Fresh prey contains up to 70% moisture. That means every meal wasn't just food. It was also a complete hydration event.
Your dog's biology today is still built around that principle. Their kidneys, bladder, and entire urinary system function best when water comes through food, not just from drinking separately. But here's the issue. Most dogs today eat dry food that contains only about 8 to 12% moisture. Compared to 70% in nature, that's a massive gap. And their bodies don't simply ignore it. Every day, their kidneys have to work harder to process more concentrated waste. Their urine becomes denser. Their urinary system is under constant low-level stress. And even if they drink more water, it's still not enough, because the body processes water from food and water from drinking in completely different ways. This is why issues like bladder stones, urinary infections, and blockages are so common in dogs.
It's not random, it's predictable. When you switch to wet food, which contains about 75 to 80% moisture, that gap is almost completely closed. Their urine becomes more diluted. Their kidneys no longer have to work overtime. The risk of crystals and stones drops significantly. Simply put, your dog's body can finally function the way it was designed to thousands of years ago. And this is only the first change, but it's the foundation for everything else that follows. One of the clearest and fastest signs that your dog's digestion is improving isn't in the bowl, it's on the ground after a walk. It may not be glamorous, but stool is one of the most honest indicators of your dog's internal health, and many owners overlook it. Dogs that eat dry food long-term often produce stools that are large, soft, and inconsistent. Some days too loose, other days too hard, sometimes requiring effort to pass. Many owners assume this is normal simply because they've never seen anything different. But in reality, it's a sign that the digestive system is working harder than it should. Dry food is heavily processed and often contains ingredients that are difficult to fully digest. As a result, your dog's body can't absorb all the nutrients efficiently. A large portion of the food passes through the digestive system without being properly used. At the same time, the high levels of carbohydrates and fiber in many kibbles can speed up gut transit, reducing the time available for proper nutrient absorption. When you switch to wet food, the difference becomes noticeable quickly. Stools become smaller, firmer, and more consistent in shape. This isn't random. It's evidence that your dog's body is absorbing more of what it actually needs. Less waste simply means less is being wasted. The high moisture content in wet food also helps the digestive system function more smoothly. Instead of being forced to move too quickly, the gut can operate at a natural pace, not too fast, not too slow. This is especially helpful for dogs that have struggled with digestive issues like chronic loose stools or irregular bowel movements. In many cases, within just 1 to 2 weeks of switching diets, digestion improves significantly. Stools become regular, predictable, and consistent. And while it may not be something people enjoy observing, once you notice the difference, you'll understand that your dog's digestive system is finally working the way it should. Sometimes, small changes like this are the clearest proof that the food you've chosen truly fits your dog's needs. One of the most noticeable, yet often overlooked changes when switching your dog to daily wet food is weight. And interestingly, it can happen without changing portion sizes or increasing exercise. Many dog owners face a familiar situation. They're doing everything right, measuring food carefully, limiting treats, walking their dog daily. Yet the weight still slowly increases over time. This can be frustrating and confusing, leading many to believe the issue is quantity. But in reality, the problem often lies in the type of food. Dry food, or kibble, is extremely calorie-dense. To maintain its shape and shelf life, it contains high levels of carbohydrates like corn, rice, potatoes, or pea starch. These ingredients add bulk, but aren't the most optimal fuel for a dog's body. When dogs consume high amounts of carbohydrates, their blood sugar spikes quickly, creating a short-lived feeling of fullness, but soon after, it drops just as fast, triggering hunger again. This creates a cycle. Eat to feel full briefly, to get hungry again to seek more food. Meanwhile, excess energy from carbs is stored as fat. Wet food changes this dynamic completely. It typically contains more protein, which triggers a stronger and longer-lasting feeling of fullness. It also has significantly fewer carbohydrates, helping stabilize blood sugar levels and prevent sudden spikes and crashes. Another key factor is its high moisture content. The added water increases the volume of food in the stomach, activating physical fullness signals. In other words, your dog doesn't just feel nutritionally satisfied, they feel physically full as well. The result is a dog that eats and truly feels satisfied. No lingering around the bowl, no constant searching for more food, no feeling of eating but still hungry. If your dog is gaining weight despite careful portion control, the issue may not be how much you're feeding, but what you're feeding. Sometimes simply changing the type of food allows their body to regulate itself naturally and effectively. When it comes to a dog's health, many people focus on weight or activity level, but there's one incredibly clear indicator you can notice immediately: their coat. In reality, a dog's coat isn't just about appearance. It directly reflects their internal health and nutrition. You can easily see the difference between dogs with soft, shiny coats that almost glow in the light and those with dry, dull, brittle fur. Many assume this is purely genetic, but genetics only set the upper limit. Whether your dog reaches that potential depends heavily on daily nutrition. A dog's skin and coat are complex biological systems that require constant nourishment, especially animal-based protein and essential fatty acids. These are the building blocks for strong fur, healthy skin, and natural oil production. When these nutrients are sufficient, the coat becomes thicker, softer, and shinier. When they're lacking, the signs appear quickly: dullness, dryness, flaking, shedding, and a rough texture. One overlooked factor is how dry food is processed. Even premium kibble undergoes high heat processing, which can degrade protein quality and essential fats. Although synthetic nutrients are added back in, they are not absorbed as efficiently as natural sources. Wet food, on the other hand, is processed at lower temperatures and retains more nutrients in bioavailable forms. This means your dog's body can actually use what it consumes to nourish skin and coat from within. Typically, within 3 to 4 weeks of switching to a wet food-inclusive diet, noticeable improvements appear. The coat becomes softer, shedding decreases, and natural shine returns. These changes take time, but once they happen, they're undeniable. And the best part? You don't need any tools or tests. Just run your hand through your dog's fur. You'll feel the difference. The coat, in its own honest way, always reflects what's happening inside. One of the most surprising changes for many dog owners doesn't happen in the body, but in behavior around food. Have you noticed this? Your dog eats extremely fast, almost inhaling their food in seconds. Then they linger around the bowl, stare at you, or continue searching for more food as if they were never fed. Some constantly beg, steal food, or become anxious around mealtime. Most people think this is just personality or instinct, but in many cases, it's driven by the food itself. Dry food is often high in carbohydrates. After eating, blood sugar rises quickly, creating a temporary sense of fullness. But soon after, it drops, triggering hunger signals again. The result? Your dog never truly feels satisfied. They exist in a constant state of mild biological hunger, even right after eating. This leads to behaviors like begging, fast eating, and food-related anxiety. When you switch to wet food, this cycle begins to change. Wet food is typically higher in protein, which creates lasting satiety. Its high moisture content increases stomach volume, activating natural fullness signals. Lower carbohydrate levels also help maintain stable blood sugar over time. The difference is clear. Your dog eats and actually feels full. No pacing around the bowl, no desperate staring, no restlessness. Instead, they calmly leave the meal and move on to resting or playing. Of course, not all fast eating is caused by diet. Dogs from competitive environments or those with past food insecurity may have ingrained habits. In those cases, combining wet food with slow feeders or food puzzles can enhance the results. When you adjust both the quality of food and the way it's eaten, the change isn't just improvement, it's transformation. A dog that once felt anxious about food can finally eat and feel satisfied. And that's the state their body was always meant to be in. Most dog owners believe choosing the right food is enough. But with wet food, how you handle it after opening is what truly determines whether it helps or harms your dog. Unlike dry food, wet food has high moisture, making it an ideal environment for bacterial growth. The moment it's exposed to air, the process begins. At room temperature, harmful bacteria like Salmonella or Listeria can multiply to dangerous levels within just 1 to 2 hours, especially in warm conditions.
The problem is you can't see it. The food may look and smell fine, but it can already be contaminated.
This is why some dogs develop digestive issues without an obvious cause. A common mistake is allowing dogs to graze throughout the day. They eat a little, leave, and come back hours later. While this may be acceptable with dry food, it's risky with wet food. That second or third visit could expose your dog to harmful bacteria. The rule is simple but critical. Never leave wet food out for more than 2 hours. Discard leftovers, don't risk it. Unused portions should be sealed and refrigerated immediately, and even then, used within 48 hours. Another small but important detail is temperature. Many owners serve wet food straight from the fridge, but cold food suppresses aroma, something crucial for dogs. In nature, prey is close to body temperature, 37 to 38 degrees Celsius. Slightly warming the food enhances its smell and makes it far more appealing. In short, wet food can offer significant benefits, but only when used correctly. The difference between healthy and quietly harmful often lies not in the food itself, but in how you handle it every day. Feeding your dog wet food daily is not just about changing their diet, it's about changing how their body functions from the inside out. With natural hydration delivered through food, the urinary system works more efficiently, reducing strain on the kidneys and lowering the risk of stones and infections. At the same time, the digestive system no longer struggles with hard-to-process food, allowing better nutrient absorption and less waste.
These internal improvements quickly become visible externally.
The coat becomes softer and shinier, the skin less dry and irritated. This isn't an instant effect, but the result of giving the body exactly what it needs. At the same time, your dog's weight becomes easier to manage, as wet food helps them feel full longer and reduces overeating. Behavior also shifts. Without blood sugar spikes and crashes, dogs become calmer during and after meals. Behaviors like rushing food, begging, or mealtime anxiety begin to fade, replaced by a sense of calm satisfaction. However, all of these benefits only happen when wet food is handled properly. This is where many owners make mistakes. Unlike dry food, wet food can quickly become unsafe if left out too long. Leaving it in the bowl for more than 1 to 2 hours can turn it into a hidden health risk, even if it looks normal. That's why the rule is simple but essential. Serve appropriate portions, discard leftovers promptly, store unused food correctly in the fridge, and warm it before serving. When done right, wet food isn't just a good option, it can be one of the most effective ways to improve your dog's long-term health and quality of life.